Morning, it's Audrey, Stitchywitch 42. It is a beautiful day here in Silverton, Oregon. Sunshine is out. It's not too warm yet. I actually did some gardening this morning. So then I came in and I took a shower and I thought, it's been a little while since I've done a video. I need to record one, especially because I have a story to tell. And I like to tell stories. Friday, I wanted to go out thrifting. I was looking for frames because I had just finished a piece and I was hoping to find something that I could use for it. So Mark went online and he checked around and he found one sale that was listed online. We got that address and then we drove to the center of town where they have a big bulletin board for people to put up garage sales, and we got a couple more. And we spent Friday afternoon driving all around Silverton thrifting. We were headed out of town towards the one Mark had found online, and we found another sign posted at the end of the road that said, "Garage sale on Drift Creek Road." Silverton, Oregon is 15 miles east of Salem, the state capital of Oregon. And most of the area around Silverton is huge pieces of property and farmland. So when this sign said garage sale out Drift Creek Road, it could be really close to town or it could be miles away from town. This was one of those days where it was miles away from town. I think we drove like 8 miles before we finally saw the second sign for the garage sale. We then turned onto this gravel road and we went up the gravel road, down the gravel road, around the bend, over the bridge, up some more gravel road until finally we pulled into the driveway of the farm where the sale was being held. Big, huge barn. The best kind of places around here for thrifting because it was a big, huge barn and it was full of stuff. There was dishes, there were pots and pans, there was Christmas items, there was Halloween stuff, there was tools, there was furniture, there was stuff. So I'm looking around and I get to the back corner and I find these 2 framed pieces of stitchwork. And I'm looking at them and I was more attracted to one than the other, but they were very similar. But I was more attracted to the one than the other. And I looked at it and it would be more along the lines of embroidery than needlepoint or cross stitch. But it was a British thatched cottage and there were hollyhocks in front of the cottage and there was a path and there were trees and there was clouds and you could see into the cottage and see the fireplace, and the windows had leaded pane glasses. And I kept looking at this piece and it was on linen, and I kept looking at it and thinking, those stitches look awfully flat. Why do they look so flat? And I put it down and I walked away and I went back and I picked it up and I looked at it some more. They wanted $3 for it. So finally I thought, I'm really not a save the stitches person, but this piece is beautiful. And for $3, you can't go wrong, right? So I went up front and there's a gentleman up there and a woman sitting across from where they were taking the money. And I go to hand him the money for it. And he turns around and he goes, "Mom, do you have a story to tell her about this piece?" And she goes, "Well, yeah, I got that with S&H green stamps in either 1959 or 1960. I said, "Well, we're going to go with 1959 because that's the year I was born." And so we laughed and he looked at the piece and he goes, "What is this?" And I said, "Well, I think it's embroidery." And I said, "I do cross stitch myself." And he goes, well, the stitches look awfully flat. And I said, yeah, that's the same thing I thought too. And he goes, it must be because they're pressed up against the glass. I mean, the glass was right on top of it. Okay. So I buy my piece and I put it in the car, and Mark and I go around and found a couple more sales, bought a couple more frames. And we get home and I posted a picture on Instagram and on Facebook of this piece, asking for some help because I've never bought an old piece, and this piece is at least 60 years old. You know, how do I care for it if I wanted to restretch it, because it looked like it wasn't stretched correct in the frame. So I post this picture. And I thought, well, before I get answers from anybody, maybe I should just look at it and see the condition for myself. So I flipped the frame over and it had the paper backing. Paper backing was torn in a couple of spots. Frame is an old wood frame. It's dirty. The glass had dirt on it. It needed some care. So I tore off that paper. And then I see the staples that are holding it in there. And they're the big long staples, and they're rusty and they're crusty. And again, I'm thinking, well, you know, this piece is 60 years old. Take the backer board out and I see cardboard. And that was when I had my moment of, oh my God, it's been in there for 60 years with cardboard. And we know cardboard is not acid free, so there might be more issues. And then I took the cardboard out and I stood there and stared at it. And then I started laughing. What I took out of the frame is a print. But isn't that gorgeous? I mean, it is just beautiful. The colors are vibrant, and it's a picture of a stitched piece. Down at the bottom, it says it was printed in Great Britain. Over here, it says 54. So if she got it in 1959 or 1960 at the S&H green stamp store, you know, that's all in line with this. But I started laughing because it's not a real stitched piece. And then I started thinking about Michelle Bendy, because she stitched a piece here a while back, and she said that she was going to have a photocopy made of it so that she could print that photocopy. And it's the piece she had made into a drum. I don't know the name. But that way she would have a print on her wall, and she would have the stitched piece made into the drum. And I started giggling because I found this and it looked real. I mean, it looked real. And I spent $3 for it at a garage sale. So maybe 60 years from now, somebody will find Michelle's piece at a garage sale, the photocopied one, and think that it's a real stitched piece too, because a good copy looks real. I'm going to clean the frame up. I'm going to clean the glass up. I'm going to put it back in the frame. And when I get my crafting room done upstairs, this is going to go up there with the story on the back, so that 60 years from now, if somebody else finds it at a garage sale, hopefully they'll get a laugh too. So, the piece that I was looking to find a frame for also came from Michelle. She had shown it on one of her videos a while back. It's a piece from the Primitive Needle, and it's called Halloween Garden. And she got it from Darlene, who is one of the ladies up at Pacific Northwest Stitchers up at Acorns. And she was passing it on to me, and then I was supposed to pass it on to Jolyn at Acorns to stitch. And it kind of became this thing that is just going to get passed around the people at Acorns who wants to stitch it. So when I had gone down that Sunday to meet up with Michelle and Emmy and Chelsea, she gave me the pattern, and it took me a little while, but I decided that I was just going to get it stitched so I can get it passed on to the next person. Remember all that fabric that I got thrifting a while back? Well, I decided that I was going to dye some. So I took like a 13-inch wide strip off of the 20 count Aida and cut it, and I dyed it. I used taupe, chocolate brown, and dark green, and I came up with fabric that looks like this. This is the piece that I've stitched, and I think it's just gorgeous. It's different from what I usually stitch. The original pattern shows this stitched in weeks dye work. I stitch mostly DMC. So I went online and I found a conversion. Some of the colors called for 2 DMC numbers. When I pulled my colors, I just pulled individual colors because I'm not going to blend. I'm just not. On the pattern, it shows the peach color that's kind of here in the center of the flowers and these down here. It shows some of the stitches up here, some of the letters up here being stitched in those colors. And I just didn't like the way that looked. So while I did copy Michelle, the A and the W, my initials, I stitched them in 3371, which was the replacement for Barks. And then all the other letters I stitched in the greens and the grays that were used throughout the rest of the pattern. So I got this stitched in 3.5 days. I have already passed it on to the next stitcher up at Acorns, which instead of being Jolynn, it is Stephanie, who is one half of Pixie Dust Stitchers. My project for today, hopefully, is to get this framed in this frame. The opening on this frame says it's a 5x7. I think that will work. It's going to have a little extra space around it, but I think that that's going to look just fine. So, start and finish. Kind of wasn't planned, but I had that pattern and it needed to be passed along, so it's been passed along. Okay. When I dyed that fabric, like I said, I cut a 13-inch wide strip. It was twice as long as this. I cut it in half and I sent half of the fabric off to Carrie, who is Carrie in Stitches. And I hope that people are watching her because she's a very, very nice lady. She has a daughter whose name is Lottie. And Lottie just had her birthday at the end of April, real close to mine. Lottie also does a floss tube video. It's usually tacked on to the end of Carrie's, but she has her own floss tube name. She is Stitch-A-Lot. So if you remember back when I showed that big box that I had bought from the lady that had all the fabric and it had the magazines and it had just a ton of stuff in there. Well, I sorted through it and I found a bunch of stuff in there that I thought Miss Lottie would like. So I sent fabric to Carrie and I sent a package of goodies to Lottie. And then one day, as I do, I was watching FlossTube and hold on just a moment. Sorry about that, but I really didn't think you guys wanted to listen to me belch. Yeah. Anyway, talking about Lottie and Carrie. I was watching Carrie's video and she showed off the other half of the fabric that I sent it to her. The reason why I sent it to her is because it's 20 count Aida and she makes these beautiful, beautiful little biscornus. She sent some of them to Michelle, and they are going to be part of this month's auction to help support I have my information here. The James J. O'Mara Pharmacy Museum. So this is for Deanna, who was Tuxie Twin Stitches, is Tuxie Twin Stitches. I'm digressing. I sent the fabric to Carrie because she does biscornus. I sent some of the other goodies out of that box to Lottie because I know Lottie stitches, and I thought that she might enjoy some of that stuff too. So I was watching Carrie's video, and she mentioned that she had received them and that Lottie was going to do her episode. I've said it before. I love hearing my name mentioned on other people's videos. I have never grinned as much as I did when Lottie mentioned me. She's doing her video, and I'm going to give you my really bad British accent here in a second. Mum, what's her name? Audrey, Stitchy Witch 42. Oh my God, my jaws hurt because I was grinning so hard. Best shout out ever. Best shout out ever. Thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you so much, Lottie. They sent me a postcard. I have notes from both of them on the back of it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, we'll go back to this. Deanna works at her museum. She is the only person in the museum, and if you watch Michelle's most recent video, she will tell you much more about it because it is a pharmacy museum. She designed a pattern, the apothecary sign. Right up my alley. I have that apothecary piece that I want to stitch. I did the Witchy Woman apothecary sign that I showed in my Halloween video last fall. This is right there with that. I need to do it. Order it from her. It's $8 Canadian, $5.93 US. 7 colors. The pattern is very simple, but very well done. So, yeah. Okay. Have to look at my notes, get my thoughts together, get rid of the hair on my face. It's going to be one of those days. So I went up to Acorns and Threads on Saturday, the 25th of May. Part of the reason that I went up there was to pass along this pattern. It went to Stephanie, half of Pixie Dust Stitchers. The other reason that I went up there that day is because I knew that we were going to be having a visitor in the shop. Dr. Jen's Stitching Niche, was there. She was in Portland for a conference, and she decided to go check out Acorns and Threads because we all talk about Acorns and Threads on our videos, and you know, people have to come check out the shop because it's pretty neat. The place was packed that day. Now, I don't know if it was packed because Jen was going to be there. I don't know if it was packed because it was the first day that they had the table set up outside for people to stitch outside on Saturdays, which is what they do. Bring a chair because they have some chairs, but they don't have a lot of chairs. There were people in there shopping. There were several of the Pacific Northwest stitchers there. Stephanie and Wendy, Pixie Dust Stitchers, were there. Darlene was there. Marion, who is one of our Pacific Northwest Stitchers, was there. Diane, who is new to our little stitching group, was there. There were people all over the place. And I'm walking around, and all of a sudden I see another face that I recognize. And across the shop I go, Brandy! Brandy, every gnome means a home. Bojo Mojo Design Co. She's another floss tuber that lives in Oregon. Anytime I find out there's somebody who does floss tube and they live in Oregon or Washington, I always check out their videos, because if they're somewhere in the Portland area, chances are that at some point in time, I might get to meet them at Acorns and Threads. And I always love meeting other stitchers and other floss tubers. And so I got to meet Brandy, and I got to meet Jen, and I got my fangirl on, and it was a fantastic short trip. I didn't sit and stitch there that day because I had worked in the morning and I was tired and my feet were swollen. So I visited for a while and I headed home, but I headed home with stuff. It's Acorns, okay? I'm sitting there at the table. Well, I wasn't sitting there at the table. Sitting, standing, moving about. And there is a stack of project bags sitting on the table. Wendy, the other half of Pixie Dust Stitchers, has been making project bags. And she's been taking them up to the shop, and Janine has been selling them. So it's a bonus for both of them. But talking with Stephanie there, and I kept looking at these bags, and there was one there that just caught my eye. And to the point where, you know, after 15 minutes of looking at it, I just said, it's mine. It has clocks on it. Kind of steampunky. The zipper finder she put on it is a little clock. And it looks kind of like little gears here. We're kind of steampunking our kitchen. So this is perfect for me. Did I need it? No. Did my arm get twisted? Yeah. Stephanie, on the other hand, has been making scissor fobs. I have a note in the paper. I owe Stephanie $20 for this because I didn't have any cash with me. And so help me God, Janine, please don't ever put an ATM in your shop because I'll be screwed. She started making zipper fobs with buttons and beads, and this is cobalt blues and silvers, which are perfect colors for me. Will I use it as a zipper fob? Scissor fob? I don't know what it is about videos that my mouth doesn't say the things that I want it to say. Scissor fob. No, I won't use it as a scissor fob. I'll find some place to hang it just because it's pretty. On a project bag. Somewhere. Maybe it'll be a new earring. I'll just have one and be lopsided. If this is your first time visiting me, this is normal. If you've been here before and you've visited me before, you come back because you know my crazy. And thank you. Thank you. The other thing that I came away from Acorns with was an absolute surprise. When I was up paying for the project bag and some floss that I'd purchased up there, Janine said that there was something in my bag up there. She has these boxes on the back of the counter that she has paper bags in, and everybody has one and has their name on them. So when we order something, it goes in the bag, and that way we can get it. She handed me an envelope. Well, I recognize it. It's one of the envelopes that they use there at the shop to put their gift certificates in. Betty Ulan, who has watched a lot of my videos, and she called Acorns and purchased a gift certificate for me. Thank you. I was floored. I was stunned. I just totally did not expect it. I haven't spent it yet because I was stunned. When people do random acts of kindness, stitchy kindness, however you want to say it, it just kind of, at least for me, it kind of makes me feel really, really stunned, blessed, touched, overwhelmed. There's a whole gamut of feelings that go through my head, and thank you, Betty. Thank you so much. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but thank you. Thank you very, very much. So maybe when I go up there next Thursday, I can find something and stitch something and think of you when I'm doing that. I also received some other stitchy kindness in the mail. This package came from my sister witch. My sister witch is on Instagram as Stacy Postal Stitcher. Again, I don't know how, I don't know why, but there is a connection between Stacy and I, and we have, since we met online, we've never met in person. She lives on the other side of the United States. We have a connection. We have sent things back and forth to each other. I had recently just sent something to her. This wasn't in response to that. The beautiful card in there said that it's a belated birthday gift. Thank you. You didn't need to do that, but you know that. The card, I don't know if I am seriously awesome, but thank you for thinking so, Stacy. She sent this hanger, which I will find just the perfect thing for because I love this. She sent me a needle minder from Heather, the Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher. It's a cat, and it's flowers, or I'd like to think stars, all over the cat. And then she sent me a pattern. It's a Plum Street sampler, Harvest Keeper, and she gave me all the DMCs. She knows that I like to stitch DMC. I do use other things, but I use them randomly. I don't stitch whole pieces using all the variegated floss because to me the variegated flosses are something that you use to emphasize a pattern. But that's just me. I don't have all the floss. Michelle has all the floss. She really does. But anyway, again, thank you, Stacy. Thank you so much for thinking of me and for sending that my way. I just absolutely love it. So, the last thing that I am going to show you, I guess I need to take the pattern off of it, is I have 5 pieces that I'm working on. And I don't have a rotation per se. I just pick something up and I work on it, and when I'm tired of it, and that could be an hour later, it could be the next day, it could be 3 days later, I grab the next one. But I've been working on all 5 of my pieces. But I want to show you this one because this one I used variegated floss on. It is Quaker Gone Haunted by Michelle Inc. This is the piece that I started over at the coast on my birthday. And I used Gentle Arts variegated wool called Fisherman's Wharf for the tree. And I've told you before, when I use variegated floss, I'm not stripy. And you can get real stripy with variegated flosses. I like to meander. I like to get an effect that I think is going to work for the pattern. When I stitched Witch on Duty, which I had received from Stacy, I did that with the cat in the pattern. I wanted to give the cat a patchy look rather than a striped look. And I think I accomplished it using the variegated floss that way. With the tree, I wanted it to look like a tree. Sorry, I just hit my tripod and I'm trying to knock everything down around me at the moment. With this one doing the tree, it's like I would do a straight line if I had to, but then I did diagonals and I came back and I did sections. I wanted it to look mottled. I wanted it to look like a tree, an actual tree. And I think I accomplished that. And I love the way this turned out. This is the center tree, Quaker Gone Haunted by Michelle Inc. I don't know if you can see it here in the picture or not. I'm trying to hold it at an angle to let the light hit so you can see the way I used the variegation on this. There are areas over here, and they're not a straight line. I love the way this tree turned out. I have been working on this one for the last 3 or 4 days, simply because I love my tree. I know, it's crazy. The other thing I wanted to show you is my favorite new thing. These things on the top of the bottom holding my fabric in. A lady on Instagram posted a picture and she showed using these. They're just a little rubber thing. Her name on Instagram is Ashley.stitches. ASHLEYE.stitches. And she showed them, and what they are Peels spool huggers. You can get a package of 20 of these on Amazon for $9.99. And it's just a little rubber thing that curls back up. They go around spools of thread. And they work great on your Q-snaps to hold your thread or your fabric in place. I think I've done like a lot of people have done. I used to use these clips, but I was always getting my floss stuck on this part. And sometimes it made it really awkward to hold on to the fabric. These, I can put my hand right over it and it's nice and I can hold it. Yes, they kind of slip and slide a little bit. That's okay. It works. So, I think I have said just about everything that I wanted to say in this video, with an exception. My last video that I did right after my birthday, I had done a giveaway for the Acorns and Threads bag and the Riolis London kit. I did draw a winner on that. I've already notified her, Caitlin Marie, and she has already received it. I apologize for not doing a video sooner, but I kind of lost my video bug for a little bit. Even this morning when I was thinking to myself that I should do a video, I was kind of like, yeah, I wasn't feeling it. And finally I decided that I'm going to just sit down and do it because I need to. I want to. I like doing videos. I love reading the comments. But I think, like anything, after a while, sometimes you just kind of need a break from it. And I just needed a moment to step back. So that's what I did. That's why it's been a month since I've done a video. But I'm going to do another giveaway. Because that great big box of thrifting finds, there were lots and lots and lots of magazines in there. And I reached in the box this morning and I grabbed one. This is a Cross Stitch and Country Crafts, May, June 1988 magazine. There are a lot of fantastic things in here. They have these little cartoons in the front of them. The man is in the fishing boat and he opens up his tackle box and it's full of his wife's floss. I've laughed at a lot of these. There are patterns. Little memo sheets you can make. Memos with the cats. Things you remember. Countless cross stitch. It's not really a pattern, but it shows you how to transfer a design onto fabric and then just to fill it in. There is a designer profile. There is a little sampler. There's a bench, a garden bench. Words, Audrey, words. A wedding sampler. It has this little bag that you can make that fits over the arm of your chair to hold your cross-stitch goodies or remotes, things like that. It has stitching strawberries on even weaves. And I know it's in here somewhere. I thought it had the pattern from the front. Hold a moment, please. It has the pattern from the front of the magazine for a family tree. This is what I'm giving up for a giveaway this time. Be a subscriber. Be 18. Don't say giveaway. I will send anywhere. I would like the magazine. Until I see you again, live long, stitch on. So long, my friends. Bye-bye.